Hello, I'd like to welcome you all to the Town of Chatham Board of Health in-person meeting for July 19th, 2021. My name is John Beckley. I'm the Chair of the Board of Health. This meeting is being recorded and will be available shortly thereafter or hereafter for scheduled and on-demand viewing on any smartphone or tablet device. If anyone else is recording the meeting, please notify me. Pursuant to Governor Baker's June 16, 2021 signing of an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, including the extension of his March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, GL, Chapter 30A and 20 until April 1st, 2022, this meeting of the Chatham Board of Health is being conducted in person and via remote for public participation. Every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that persons who would like to listen to this meeting while in progress may do so by calling the phone number 1-508-945-4410, conference ID 520-269-904, number sign, or join the meeting online via Microsoft Teams through the link in the posted agenda. While this is a live broadcast and simulcast on Channel 18, despite our best efforts, we may not be able to provide for real-time access. We will post a record of this meeting on the town's website as soon as possible. Okay, let's start the meeting agenda. First, let me recognize that we have all of the Board of Health members in attendance tonight, including our alternate. We have several items on the agenda tonight. The first is a continuation of a show cause hearing for Corey Clark at 51 George Ryder Road regarding the sewer connection order. Mr. Clark, are you on the call? I think we can. We can all be seen on the camera. So, Mr. Clark, are you on the call? If you are, you may have to unmute your phone or your computer. We thought we saw you earlier, but maybe not. Okay. Well,
We could go back to that.
we'll revisit this first agenda item after we finish the others and see if Mr. Clark is on the call. Item number 2 is a variance hearing and approval of IA Technology for James and Jennifer Mock at 32 Old Salt Works Road. And representing this application is Coastal Engineering, and I believe it's John Schneibel. Are you on the call, John?
It's me. Yes, I'm here. I'm representing the Mocks from Coastal Engineering here, and I'll just kind of go over the project again. There's a house there presently. It's going to be removed. This is the area where the Naval Air Station was. It was kind of the outskirts of that area. I don't know if you drove in there, but there's quite a still bit of concrete from when the Naval Air Station was there, and most of that is going to be removed from the site. What's proposed is a new home. The lot itself has 40,000 square feet, a little over actually. And what we're proposing is, since it's by right it's allowed 4 bedrooms, we want to add a 5th bedroom, and that would be in the proposed garage. If you've seen the plans, that's where that extra room would be, so that they can have the guests stay out there. And so with that, what we propose, under your nitrogen loading regulations, you're allowed under 6.3 to add an extra bedroom if we're not an NSA, and we're also we can add an extra bedroom based on that regulation. And what we're proposing is a fast unit, fast, and it'll be gravity fed to the leaching system, which is shown more towards the road, Old Salt Works. Presently, there's a well right now. We're proposing to have that removed and provide town water. There's a little error. I was looking at the setbacks, and actually, what it talks about in the the fourth paragraph is that it says coastal bank will be approximately 140 feet away from the nearest septic component. It's actually to the salt marsh. And actually, the leaching system itself will be 106, which meets both the state and the town requirements. And really, that's about it on the lot. I mean, it's something that is frequently happening in Chatham with a new house, going with an IA system, and the rest of and again, the whole system will comply with setbacks, groundwater separation, and it'll be a new home. And that's really about it on what's going on.
Can you tell, John,
go
can
ahead.
you tell us, this is John Beckley, can you tell us about the process that will be used to abandon the existing well?
Typically, what you do is you fill it in, with concrete and typically bentonite or to make sure that it is not to be used again.
So that prevents any surface water from getting down into the aquifer if you do a
Yeah, correct.
proper
Yep.
sealing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And John, we have a well abandonment permit that we require.
Okay.
Well, sometimes people choose to keep the well for irrigation, however, but that's their choice. It has to be 25 feet away from the leaching if they use it for
Okay.
irrigation.
I,
All right.
yeah, I believe that well is kind of like where the pool is. So,
Okay.
but yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised they don't keep it for
Well, yeah, like I said, I think it's
irrigation.
yeah, it'd be nice. I think if they do it, they'd probably do another well. It's a small 2-inch well.
Okay. It's just outdated in general.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I mean,
When was this house last occupied?
They let's see, they bought it. It might have been last year. I mean, this has been going through some back and forth as far as buying the property, and I think it was occupied, not the summer before.
Okay. Okay, any Board of Health members have questions or comments on this application with Mr. Schneibel? It's some spectacular lot, I can tell you that.
It is spectacular, yeah. It is something. There's still that concrete pillbox that's down by the water. So
I didn't see that.
Yeah, there's some remnants of the. Yep.
Well, that explains, when you said about the former use, that explains why they would have those concrete pads poured there if they were going to have a naval station.
Yeah, I think that's where the dirigibles were, right where the house is.
Yeah, dirigible. Is that right? Yeah. That's quite a story.
Yes, it is. Yeah, and I'm trying to remember the people down at the end. I'm trying to remember we did that work for them. Used to be the Brownells' house, and yeah, that's where the seaplanes were. So.
Right. Interesting.
This is Noble. So the garage second floor plan shows 2 rooms.
Right.
It's on. It's on.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
The garage second floor plan, 2 rooms, I'm assuming that's like a living room and a bedroom, just one bedroom in the 2
Correct.
rooms?
Yep, you have to walk through, you have to go up the stairs, walk through that living area to get to the bedroom.
Right.
So is there, are there gonna be kitchen facilities upstairs, or just
There's,
occupancy?
there's gonna be a sink and a refrigerator.
Okay,
I mean, I think the building code wouldn't allow them to have a, stove and stuff like that.
they will or will not?
Will not,
Will not, so it's very limited,
right.
okay. Could actually be an ADA. You get right down to it if they wanted to. I don't see anything else on this design that concerns me. I mean, they have a clean slate, they got 4 acres, and they've got quite a location, so they can lay out whatever they want, I guess, at this point, and it's gonna meet all the setbacks. Any other Board of Health questions, comments? Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
And then we have a motion to approve. Ed, can you amend that to reflect with the following conditions, with the 9 reference conditions?
Would you like me to read
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'll second that with Judy
Okay.
reading the conditions.
We have a motion and a second. Judy, can you please read the 9 conditions that you've outlined?
The applicant should restrict the property to a maximum of 5 bedrooms and record this restriction on the deed at the Barnstable County Registry of Deeds. The applicant shall submit a copy of the executed deed restriction to the Health Division. The applicant shall sign a covenant with the board agreeing to comply at such time as the town of Chatham, through its Board of Health and/or Board of Water and Sewer Commissioners, directs the connection of this property to municipal sewer when it becomes available. This covenant shall be recorded at the Barnstable County Registry of Deeds and copied to the Health Department. Through its life, the system shall be under an operation and maintenance agreement. Operation and maintenance agreement shall be for at least 1 year and may be with any certified operator of the appropriate grade that has received training by the company on the operation of the system. Effluent from the system shall be monitored at least twice per year for the first 2 years, preferably May and October. The effluent shall be field tested in accordance with Mass DEP standard conditions for secondary treatment units certified for general use, revised March 20th, 2015. In addition, a lab test of the effluent for total nitrogen to meet the performance standards of 19 milligrams per liter shall be collected and analyzed by a certified lab. Water meter readings are to be provided with the semi-annual report. If any of the field tests or lab tests fail, follow-up tests shall be conducted by a certified lab and an evaluation made by the operator within 30 days. After the required 2 years testing, application can be made to the board or their agent for review and possible modification of the monitoring requirements. The applicant agrees to apply a minimum of 6 inches of compacted topsoil to all disturbed areas of the property. The engineer shall submit an engineered as-built plan, including as-built elevations with a written certification that the system has been installed in accordance with the approved plan. No alteration to the floor plan of the dwelling or the engineer's site plan will be allowed without further review by the Board of Health or its agent. This variance is granted pursuant to the State Environmental Code Title V and the Town of Chatham Subsurface Sewage Disposal regulations and is valid from 1 year from the date of the Board of Health approval. A permit must be issued and work commenced during that 1-year period or the variance shall expire.
Okay, thank you, Judy. Does any member of the public wish to comment on this motion before the Board of Health votes? Hearing none, by voice vote, please, all, if you're in favor of approving this motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. If you're against, say nay. Okay, I don't hear any nays, so the motion is approved unanimously by voice vote. Thank you, John.
Thank you. Yeah, have a good night.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Item number 3 on the agenda, which is a variance hearing and approval of IA Technology for Edward and Cheryl Acton at 24 Salt Pond Road, has been delayed and will not be heard tonight, but is going to reappear at our August 8th meeting. So save the paperwork you have on this application and bring it to the meeting on August 8th. Mhm. Oh, okay. Thank you. We need a motion to continue this application until the August 8th meeting.
Motion approved.
August 2nd.
August 8th, I thought, no? August 2nd?
August 2nd.
Okay.
August 2nd.
August 2nd. So you have a motion to carry this forward to the next meeting on
Yes.
August 2nd. And we have a second?
Noble, second.
Noble second. Okay, all in favor of the continuance, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So that motion to carry this agenda item to the next meeting is approved. The last item we have is an update from Dr. Duncanson, but let me go back and ask whether Mr. Clark is on the call at
Can
this
you hear
time.
me? I'm on a live call. I just couldn't get my video to work. If you're hearing me,
Was that,
That's Corey.
that is Corey, okay.
I apologize. I've been trying for 20 minutes to get on, and I couldn't get the video to work. So I apologize.
I understand, Mr. Clark. Can you give the Board of Health an update on where you are getting your sewer connection?
Yes, I spoke with Judy last week. East Southeast has been working on it. They came quite a while ago to do the plans, and they're still working on the plans. They were supposed to email something over to let the Board of Health know that they are working on it. It's just been behind with everything that they've got going on, so I'm just waiting for their plans. My septic company that services my septic now is probably going to be the company that I'm going to use, so they're waiting for the plans so that I can give them to them so that I can go forward with getting the estimate and then moving forward.
So you're in the process of getting the approvals, but they're not in hand yet?
No, I guess the engineers are so backed up. They're just, they came quite a while ago. I think I called them immediately right after the meeting last time. And they came, they were at the house about 3 or 4 times with measuring and doing what they're supposed to do. I'm just waiting for the actual plans to be in hand.
So do you have a sense, Mr. Clark, on how much more time you would need to get this done?
That's all dependent on the engineers when they get the plans done, and then whoever can get the work done. I can tell you, I'm certainly not dragging my feet on it because it needs to be done as soon as possible. So
You have made application with the county for the funding, true?
I called and spoke to them, but they need to see the actual estimates, and I don't have an estimate because I don't have the plans.
Okay.
So I don't know how I can go any faster until the engineers get the plans to me in my hand.
Well, it sounds to me like you're making a good faith effort to get there, and it would
Well, I
seem...
need to. I hadn't had any problems with my septic, but my septic company seems to think now that it's possible that my leaching field is starting to fail. So I have scheduled a pump out every 3 months to make sure I don't have any issues. So it behooves me to get it done as fast as I can. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep paying to get the
So
the tank pump.
this is a good time for you to make that connection.
Absolutely,
If
a
you're-
very good time.
If you have
So-
a feeling that your septic system, your existing system may be
Correct.
failing, well, make sure you
correct.
pump it as
I
frequently.
just had it pumped. I just had it pumped 2 weeks ago, and it's an automatic every 3 month schedule until I can get it done. Hopefully, I don't have to keep paying for it if I can get the plans and I can get moving. So I certainly need to get it done as soon as I
And-
can. And they know that. Rutherby Hour knows that, and the engineers hopefully know that. I'm going to touch base with them again. I just spoke to them the other day, so they know that I need to get this done.
And do everything you can to minimize the amount, how many gallons of water you're?
Oh, we've been doing that. I've been
Okay.
making sure that everything is cut back.
Okay.
Fortunately, I have my business, the gym, so I can get things done over there to keep the water cut
So-
back here. So.
Judy, what do you recommend we do at this time?
I just wanted you to know that we did get confirmation from Eldridge that they are designing a system.
Okay.
I do know that all the engineers are very busy and backed up. Some of them are 6 months to a year out on some of this stuff.
Okay.
I mean, I think if you gave them another 6 months and then asked them to come back, if we haven't got a permit application by that point, that seems acceptable.
Okay. What does the board think?
This is Noble. I'd ask Mr. Clark, has East Southeast given you an estimate of how long it will take them to come up with a plan, just a ballpark figure?
No, I could call and ask them. I know that they came. It's been about 3 months since they actually came to the house, so I don't know how backed up they are, but they've definitely had all the information they need for quite a while. So I can put the heat on them, I guess, by letting them know that I have to get my tank pumped every 3 months, and hopefully that will speed it up. I just found out that they want me to get they think it's a good idea to pump the tank every 3 months to make sure I don't have any issues. So I can give them that information, and hopefully that will speed them up.
What other board members you think we should extend I mean, he can't do anything else other than, I guess, request further action, and he certainly is motivated to do that with the
Absolutely,
existing system beginning to show some sign of sluggishness. Can I get a motion from a Board of Health member to extend the compliance time for another 6 months?
Yeah, if Ron Broman and I approve that we give him another 6 months. Judy, will you get copies of the pumping on that?
We should get pumping records, but we can ask Corey to supply those to us
Yeah, I,
as part of the condition for.
maybe they can tell you how close it's coming to failure too, you know.
Okay. Can I get a second to that motion?
Second.
I have a second from Ed. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion as made, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I don't hear anything. Mr. Clark, you have,
Yes.
you have an additional, up to an additional 6 months to get this done.
Yeah,
And
hopefully that won't take that long.
hopefully it won't. And please do whatever you can to get your contractors to move this along as soon as possible.
Absolutely, they're all aware. At least the Robert PR, that's who I will be using. They're aware, and they have a woman over there that handles all of that. So as soon as I have the plans in my hand, it goes to her, and she'll help me guide. She'll guide me through all the
And maybe
stuff I need to
keep
do.
Judy in the loop, and please provide us with
Yep.
copies of the pumping receipts.
Sure, absolutely. I can get that. I can get that to her probably tomorrow if she needs it.
Okay, very good. All right. Thank
Thank
you.
you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Let's go back to item number 4, which is an update and a discussion regarding COVID-19 with Dr. Robert Duncanson, Director of Health and Natural Resources.
Thank you, John. So as I'm sure everybody's aware, it's been a while since we've been doing our regular updates. Right now, we are at 331 cases in Chatham since the beginning of the pandemic. We had 2 cases in June, and we've had 3 cases so far in July. We are seeing a slight uptick, if you will. All of the recent cases have been in fully vaccinated individuals. So that is, consistent with what we're seeing across the country, where the latest update was 97% of the current cases nationwide are in unvaccinated people. But we are seeing a rise in vaccinated people showing positive for COVID-19. Not unexpected. No vaccine is 100% effective. And as I'm sure everybody's aware, the current Delta variant that's making the rounds is highly contagious. And so it's pushing the limits of the vaccine, if you will. But clearly, vaccinated people are much better off medically. Most of the cases in vaccinated people, the symptoms have been very mild, not leading to hospitalization, severe illness, or death, which is, that's one of the goals of a vaccine. But clearly, not only is it in Massachusetts and across the country, but around the world, Britain has seen a significant uptick in cases among unvaccinated people, as well as a more robust occurrence of cases in vaccinated individuals. So, as we said back in May when the governor got rid of all the restrictions across Massachusetts, it didn't get rid of COVID. It got rid of the restrictions, but COVID is still here. And now, unfortunately, we are seeing an uptick on the Cape as a whole, more than likely related to the influx of summer residents and visitors, especially those coming from unvaccinated states, Florida, Louisiana, and several others in the South, where vaccination rates are pretty low. Vaccination rates have been going up recently in the last, say, 2 weeks or so, as the word gets around that, most of the cases now are in unvaccinated individuals. So, that seems to be driving some of the vaccination rates, which, kind of hit a real low point, say 2 or 3 weeks ago. They are starting to creep back up again because I think people now realize, even though the vaccine's not 100% effective, it is still highly effective. So we'll continue to monitor what's going on. We'll continue to monitor what's going on worldwide. I'm sure everybody's aware today was, quote, Freedom Day in Great Britain, where pretty much all the restrictions, primarily in England, remember Great Britain is the entirety of the British Isles. England pretty much got rid of all their restrictions today. However, they are having an upsurge in cases. And in fact, earlier today, early our time, normal time for them, there were actually some protests across England because of the fact they pretty much got rid of all their restrictions today, even though the fact that their COVID cases are going back up again because of the Delta variant. Now, some of the other countries in the British Islands, Wales, Scotland, they did not necessarily get rid of all their restrictions. So very similar to what's happened in the United States, except instead of regions, it's been state by state. So, we'll just continue to monitor this and hope that we don't see a major upsurge in cases in Massachusetts. Massachusetts is one of the more vaccinated states, so we're keeping our fingers crossed. But obviously, especially on the Cape where we have so many out-of-state residents and visitors, it's a continuing challenge.
Bob, do you have any knowledge on when the vaccine for the younger children, less than 12-year-olds, might be available?
The latest information that I had come across my desk yesterday was midwinter.
So
They were
months.
originally saying in the fall. Now it's been pushed off to midwinter because the CDC is asking for 4 to 6 months of follow-up. So assuming that those young people, some of the people in the test cases have gotten it over, say, the last month or so, 4 to 6 months of follow-up for those individuals would take us to the end of the year. So that's why CDC is saying probably midwinter. The vaccine would become widely available for youngsters under age 12.
So we still have to realize that we have a certain subset of our population
Right.
who is not vaccinated now
And
is
not eligible for the
they're
vaccine
not
yet either.
eligible
Right.
for vaccination now, and they're going to be constituting a vulnerable population that could spread it to each other and could challenge the adults with them
Yeah, I
who
just
have been vaccinated.
just before this meeting, I got some updated information or guidance, if you will, from CDC for households in that circumstance, where there is a mix of unvaccinated and vaccinated people, primarily the younger children that aren't able to get vaccinated yet. And I did send that information out to everybody, including the board. So you've got that latest information or latest guidance that's coming out of CDC on that.
Where do we stand with mask requirements in these younger kids?
The latest information and the latest guidance from the State Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, as well as from CDC, is it's up to the individual school districts. CDC has recommended it for the younger generation or the younger children that aren't eligible for vaccine.
In school, in a
in
school.
school,
they
in the
should be
school
masked
setting.
in school.
Yes,
But
in
we
the
don't
school
have any
setting.
current recommendation.
Right.
If an 8-year-old comes to Chatham and is walking downtown,
Right.
there's no recommendation that that young child be masked.
Right. Well, as you know, we have our signage up. The board doesn't have any absolute regulation or guidance, but we have had the sign up. You know, the message boards at
Okay.
both ends of Main Street, recommending that anybody who's unvaccinated wear a mask.
Okay, so that would include the younger kids.
That would include the younger set. Some
Okay.
of the stores and all do have requirements to wear a mask if you're in their particular store. But statewide, countywide, townwide, there is no mandate for any particular age group.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Have you been in touch with the Monomoy School District to see what they're doing?
Not recently.
Not
The CDC guidance just came out last week. They're on their summer, but we will be touching base with them before the school season starts back up again. Once they've had, and the last call we had with the state, the folks from the Department of DESE, the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, they hadn't come out with any updated guidance yet. They said it was still a little early for them to do it. They were waiting till things got a little closer to September, so that they can have the latest CDC guidance and others before they come out with any guidance. You know, we're a little bit different than some of the other schools around the country that start in August. You know, schools here generally don't start till after Labor Day, so they have a little bit more time to see how things go over the summer and how the guidance may change before they come out with their updated guidance.
Thank you.
Very good.
One comment and a question. You know, my wife wanted to take our 3-year-old granddaughter to the village market today, and I told them they really should both wear a mask. You know, because if she wears a mask, the daughter's gonna wear a mask. And I think, you know, it's better to be safe than sorry in this sort of situation. And then the question is, do we have any data on the breakthrough infections regarding the rate of breakthrough in the 2-dose vaccines versus the single-dose vaccine? We know that the Johnson & Johnson vaccine was not as effective. It was 70% effective as opposed to 95% effective. Are we seeing more breakthroughs with the J&J vaccine?
The data that I've seen would, and it's only limited, I mean, because there haven't been that many cases.
Well, 66,000 breakthroughs in this country.
Yeah, I haven't seen any data on the full 66,000, and what I have seen is it's pretty well evenly split between the 2-dose vaccines and the single-dose J&J. I mean, remember, one of the reasons why J&J is indicated as being less effective, if you will, J&J was in trials when the Delta variant was starting to come out. So the other 2 vaccines, the Pfizer and Moderna, were not. So they were really never tested against the Delta variant. J&J was. That's one of the reasons why J&J was, quote, a little bit less effective. But I haven't seen any, other than about evenly split between the 2, I haven't seen any more detail than that.
Bob, are we aware of any infections among employees of restaurants or businesses in downtown Chatham?
I have not seen any recently. There was one of the recent cases was Max Seafood, an employee of Max Seafood, but it didn't indicate whether they worked in the Chatham or in the Wellfleet one. So we haven't received anything locally, so I suspect that individual was working at the non-Chatham location.
Are they still required to report to the Board of Health?
Yes.
Health Department?
Yes, they are.
Yes. Yep.
I know it's not on the agenda, but I heard a Board of Health member asking earlier for an update on the John McGrath case. Judy, can you just give us a 30-second update on that?
We are still waiting for guidance from town council. I think he did respond just now, and I haven't had a chance to really read his
Okay.
legal comments. But it sounds like we will be able to move forward based on the fact that he was ordered, and we need to confirm whether he has made any effort or improvement of the area. So we just need to,
That will come back to the Board of Health at an upcoming meeting when we have more
Yeah,
guidance.
there's a number of steps that have to be taken, and as Judy said, I had queried town council prior to this, and he just got back to us with a lengthy response that
Okay.
neither
You
of
haven't
us
digested
have had a
yet.
time
Okay.
to review.
All right.
But yeah, there's multiple steps that will have to be taken.
One other item is, we did get all the Board of Health members did receive an email relating to a letter to the editor concerning the airport. So we're not going to get into a discussion of that tonight, but it will be an agenda item at a future.
yes, we put it on for the next meeting.
Okay. So
And
we're going to stand by. You're going to hear more. Ron?
Thank Judy for getting that right out to us, because I received a copy of it just a couple of days ago from someone, and I think Judy must have got it probably about the same time I did.
Right.
And I want to thank you for getting it out.
oh, no
Well,
problem.
we'll take a look at that,
Yeah.
at that letter to the editor, and we'll also take a look at the letter from EPA that stimulated
Yes.
his letter to the editor.
Question?
Get a little closer to the mic, Ron.
Yeah, Bob, can I ask you one more question? What is the status on the well and what's been going on up there? You know, the well that you had to shut down because of
You
the,
mean the PFAS?
Yes.
The subject of Debbie Ecker's letter to the editor and the EPA response letter regarding the airport. As you know, well 5, which is the well that exceeded the MCL, the maximum contaminant level for PFAS, was shut down back in April. That well remains shut down at this point. We had a conversation with the Board of Selectmen, the Select Board last week. They were provided an update on the PFAS situation. There has been additional testing done out of all the wells because it was time for the next quarterly report or next quarterly testing. The only one we've gotten results back on was well number 5 because we expedited that through the lab. The results from well 5 were 8 and 9, I think. They were down significantly like they've been. I haven't seen the results for all the other wells in town yet. That should be coming in any day now because that was on a standard 7-day turnaround time with the lab. We have, in the conversation with the select board, it was determined we will be undertaking a study to try to determine the source of the PFAS in those 3 wells, wells 4, 5, and 8. Because as I'm sure you're aware, and you know, as Ms. Ecker alluded to in her letter, there's a significant portion of, not a significant, there are members of the community that are pointing the finger at the airport as being the source of the PFAS. As I mentioned to the Board of Selectmen last week, I've touched base with the airport operator, as well as the current and previous fire chiefs, as well as my own recollections, having been in Chatham for a significant period of time, of any incidents at the airport where foam was used. And in the past 30-plus years, we could remember only one incident regarding the airport and an emergency response where firefighting foam was used, and then it was only a very small portion. It wasn't like, you know, they foamed the entire runway or anything like that. So based on that information, there's no smoking gun at this point regarding the airport. So we are going to do a study to look at potential sources of PFAS contamination within the zone 2s of those 3 wells. So we're not going to do a town-wide study because all the other wells came up non-detect. So we're going to limit it to wells 4, 5, and 8, and their zone 2s, which is basically the area of contribution that those wells draw from.
Gotcha.
So we're gonna start there, and that does encompass the airport because it's within the zone 2 for Indian Hill well, which is right out just down the road here. So we hope to get that study going here shortly. We have an example of a similar study that the town of Nantucket did So we
Okay.
don't have to start from scratch to create a scope of services, if you will. So that's one thing that's taking place. DEP has approved the town starting up well number 4 again, which again is the one right back here. That's the one that has been offline since the 1990s due to PCE or tetrachloroethylene contamination. But that, because it's been offline now for 20+ years, but it is still monitored routinely because we didn't abandon that as a public water supply well. We just kind of put it off to the side. So all the necessary testing and all has been done over the years to keep that as an active well. DEP has approved the use of that, approved the installation of the necessary chemical treatment there. We have to install chlorine treatment as well as polyphosphate treatment, which is pH control, to get that well up to the same level as the other wells in town. And so that has been approved. The engineers are working on the design. The hope is that everything will be installed probably by the middle of August to be able to bring that well back online as a production well. And then in the meantime, the engineers are simultaneously working on treatment for wells 5 and 8. Now, unfortunately, that's going to be a little bit more complicated because it involves not just treatment for PFAS, which in and of itself is relatively simple with GAC, granular activated carbon. But in order to be able to do the GAC, we have to remove the iron and manganese. So just like we did for the wells in the western part of town 2 years ago, where we built a water filtration plant to remove iron and manganese, we have to do the same thing for wells 5 and 8 before we can add the granular activated carbon for the PFAS removal. So the engineers are in the process of designing all that. One of the things we're going to look at is obviously wells 5 and 8 are physically relatively close to each other. Well 4 is not that far away. So we're looking at going ahead and doing one treatment plant for wells 4, 5, and 8. Rather than building 2 separate plants, we're going to see if we can't find a location similar to what we did in the western part of town, where we did wells 6, 7, and 9, brought those all into one treatment plant. We're going to see if we can't figure out a way to bring 4, 5, and 8 into one treatment plant. Because, as you know, the treatment plant cost was about $9 million just for iron and manganese. And then you've probably got another $1 million to $1.5 million for the granular activated carbon. So, you're somewhere around a $10 to $12 million plant to treat both iron and manganese as well as PFAS.
Wow.
So that all is in the works with either DEP approvals or with the engineering designs to then get that out to bid and get moving on that. And then the third piece of the puzzle, or the stool, if you will, is moving forward with wells 10 and 11, which are new wells that would be located up in the western portion, the northwest corner of Chatham. The casings and all for those wells were installed a number of years ago. The design has been completed for the well pump houses and everything else. So it's just going ahead and getting the wells, getting the pumps installed, getting the piping installed, getting the pump houses built. There is funding available that's been available for doing that. So it's just a question of kind of getting that back in the process and moving forward with that. So all those things are going on simultaneously right now.
Thank you, Bob.
Yeah.
A simple question, right? You
It's a
asked.
simple question.
It's amazing how much
It
is going
how
on.
much is involved in it, yeah.
Yeah.
It really is amazing.
Well, we finished the agenda. I'd like to,
I have just one last quick
Okay.
update for the board. And this is breaking news, if you will. And it doesn't require any action on the board at this part, but I just wanted you folks to be aware of it. 3 of our south side beaches, Cockle Cove, Ridgevale, and Hardings Beach, were closed this afternoon to swimming due to the presence of Portuguese man-o'-war, which are a not uncommon visitor here to the Cape in the summer. This year there has been, because of global warming and many other things, warming water temperatures, we've seen an upsurge in Portuguese man-o-war presence. It started out at Horseneck Beach in Westport. Falmouth has had some hits. And now, just today, they found 7 of them up on the beach on those 3 beaches. So out of an abundance of caution, Dan Tobin, Director of Parks and Rec, closed those 3 beaches to swimming on the basis of that. We went ahead and put advisory signs up at Pleasant Street Beach as well as Forest Beach Road, because remember, those are unguarded beaches. Those are
Right.
rural beaches, so there's nobody there. But I went ahead and made up some quick signs and took those down and posted those up just so people could be aware. And I also talked to the manager at the Chatham Tides Motel as well, just to give him a heads up, because again, those are all on the Nantucket Sound side. We have prevailing southwesterly winds today blowing everything up onto the beach.
Okay.
That is going to continue for the next day or so, those southwesterly winds. And so the Harbor Master's office is going to be doing a patrol this afternoon as well as tomorrow morning along the Nantucket Sound shoreline, just to see if it, if the 7 that are already up on the beach are all there are, or if there's a significant number potentially still out in Nantucket Sound.
Can you see them, Bob?
You can. They, and I'm sorry I didn't bring a picture, but Portuguese man-o-war are kind of unique because they actually have an air-filled bladder that floats above the surface, and it's purple, so that's why they're called what they're called. The problem with them isn't so much that part of it, it's the tentacles down below, which can be upwards of 100 feet long. And they do have a fairly nasty sting, especially if you're allergic to things like bee stings and those kinds of things. So, yeah, but you can see them on the surface. That's why we have the Harbor Master's office taken around to check. Now, today they probably won't be able to see it very well because when I was down at the beach, the water was pretty choppy.
Gotcha.
And these things tend to be about 6, maybe 8 inches long, and the bladder's 4 to 5 inches high.
Okay.
So, if the water's too choppy, you just won't notice it.
Yeah.
But if it's a nice calm day, you can definitely see them. And unfortunately, what happens when they get up on the beach, because the bladder's still there and it's a pretty color, they're what I call an attractive nuisance. And the difficult part is, even when it's up on the beach and dried out, if you were to step on it or pick it up and play with it, you can still get stung and you can still have an allergic reaction. So that's why we wanted to get the information out quickly to people and get some signage up.
Good.
So anyway,
Sounds
just a
like you
quick
handled
update.
it very well. Sounds like Chatham's
It's
being
not,
very,
unfortunately, not the first time we've had it. This year, it's a little earlier, and the numbers are higher, and I think global warming, just another
could be
one of those impacts. Yeah.
interesting.
If we get them on Hardings, it's gonna be a real problem.
Well, yeah, and we do have them on Hardings. And we do have them on Hardings.
Oh, you closed Hardings?
Yes, Cockle Cove, Ridgevale, and Hardings were the 3 that
So
were
the-
closed this
the
afternoon.
Chamber of Commerce is not gonna be very happy about this. This is,
Now, when you close a beach, you're not saying people can't park and go and sit on the sand.
Right. The
You're
beach-
saying they can't go in the water.
The beach was not closed. It was just closed to swimming.
Okay.
All right, that's what was done. So you're absolutely right. When a
Right.
beach is, we all say the beach is closed. That's really a misnomer.
Gotcha.
When the board closes an area, or like this case, Park and Rec did, it's closed to swimming. You can still sit on the sand. You can still park in the parking lot.
Right.
And they're advising people when they come in, especially if they're buying a day or a week pass, that you can go to the beach, but you can't go in the water right now.
Okay.
So, yeah.
What about the ones that washed up? Are you doing anything with those?
Yeah, the staff from Park and Rec, they're being buried in locations that are appropriate. So they're not being buried right there. They're taking them up in the dunes, burying them in someplace where hopefully they don't get eroded back out, or, some kid plays with them. But yeah, it's difficult because you really need to make sure you pick it all and get it all off the beach, because you can get stung just by walking on them or, picking them up.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for that
Thank you.
update, that announcement.
wait, this is,
We have to approve the June 21st minutes. Can I get a motion to, unless somebody has a recommended edit, or,
I had one quick question. This Save Lives at Mill Pond Landing, is that pond behind the house called Mill Pond? Or does that mean Oyster River where his
I'm sorry, it should have said Barn Hill Landing.
Barn Hill Landing, that's
So-
where his business is?
where is that on the minutes?
Page 2, it's 7 down on John McGrath stated.
It's the 7th bullet point. See the list of bullet points? Yeah.
Oh, okay, I see. So that should be corrected to, at the
Barn Hill Landing.
Barn Hill Road landing.
Landing, yes.
Okay. Thank you, Noble. Good catch.
Good catch, yep.
Can I get a motion to accept the minutes with that one correction? Can I get a second?
Noble, second.
Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Motion approved. As far as I think we're done now for the night, unless somebody has something they need to raise. If not, can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion and a second from Ron to adjourn. All in favor of adjourning the meeting, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for coming and participating. Thank you.